Joshua Tenorio, Segunda Magalohan Guam, Lieutenant Governor of Guam, and the Honorable Lourdes A. Leon Guerrero Magahog and Guahan, Governor of Guam. Hafaday? What's more? Hafaday? And that's more like what I'm expecting from our group, who is proclaiming June 2024 as LGBTQIA plus and Pride Month. At this time, I want to recognize the presence of our governor, our Magahaga, the Honorable Lourdes A. Leon Guerrero, Governor of Guam. The Honorable Joshua Tenorio Segunda Magalohan Guam, Lieutenant Governor of Guam. From the 37th Guam Legislature, Roy Kanata. And we also have several members from the Leon Guerrero Tenorio Administration Cabinet. Let's go ahead and give them a round of applause as well. Some notable stakeholders in the House this afternoon. We have Equality Guam, Gala, Sisters of the Moonlight, as well as the House of Diosa. I also want to acknowledge and recognize, for those that can't join us in person today, this event is being live streamed on Governor's YouTube page. That's youtube.com/GovLuGuam, so you can watch it there as well. Now, without further ado, for his opening remarks, I want to give the floor now to Christian Camacho from Equality Guam. Christian, actually, I want to welcome you to the front. Join us up here. You're hiding in the corner. Let's be proud. Here. Thank you so much.
Good day, everyone. Thank you all for being here today to celebrate and support the LGBTQ community of Guam. I am Christian Camacho. I am the Vice President for Equality Guam. We are, or I am, part of the new board of directors with Equality Guam. So this is my first year in the planning process when it comes to Pride. Oftentimes, I'm one of the participants and the ones celebrating Pride, but this year we get to, or I get to work and plan and help assist in this huge celebration. I would like to thank Gala, as well as the Sisters of the Moonlight, the House of Diosa, and my team with Equality Guam, and all of the community members who have come out for the last couple of weeks and assisted in all of the planning, all of the logistics that we have had to figure out as we are working toward the many events and activities we have going on this month. This month is a time for celebration, a time for us to come together as a community and support and uplift the LGBTQ community. But I do also recognize that there is a deep history of fighting for our rights. The LGBTQ community would not be what it is today if it was not for the queer people of color and Black and Latino trans women and men who fought for our rights all those years ago. And I would like to give them that recognition and remember that although we are here to celebrate, we must be reminded of the fight that we had to get to this point and the fight that we still need to get to further our lifestyles and the acceptance that our community so much deserves. Again, I would like to thank everybody for being here today and for all of those who aren't here but are supportive of our community. We have a ton of events that we have planned for this month. You can find that information on all of our social medias, equalityguam.com, Equality Guam on Instagram, Gala, as well as the KUAM Instagram page. They have all of our events on a calendar that have been set up there. So if anybody would like to volunteer for any of those events or participate, they can reach out to any of the leadership within those groups, and we are more than willing to have you guys come on and work with us and celebrate with us this month. Thank you.
Jesus Masi Christian. I now want to give the floor to the Honorable Lourdes de Leon Guerrero, Governor of Guam, for her remarks.
Thank you very much, Crystal. Welcome to Adelup. This is the room that important decisions are made. And so I am very honored and very much welcoming you here. I am also very honored to sign and proclaim June 24th as the month of recognizing I need to make sure I get all this down. LGBTQIA plus Pride Month. I have always been raised in a family that respects and gives dignity to people. And my parents always taught me that we need to always make sure that we treat people fairly and with great justice. So I was raised in that family. I was raised in a Catholic family also, which promotes those same values of respect and dignity and generosity to whoever it may be, whether you are Black, whether you are brown, whether you are a man, a woman, or other form of sexual orientation. And to me, I think we live in a society that promotes that also, at least we hear it. And I think the more that your voices are heard, the more that you come forward, the more that you are not, that you are free to express yourselves in your own identity that you are most comfortable with. I think the more our people will get educated and the more we will have more awareness and consciousness about sexual equality and equity. I just finished Micronesian Islands Forum, and one of our committee is gender equity in the Pacific region. And it's not just gender equity between a man and a woman, but it's gender equity for all. No matter what sexual orientation you feel comfortable in or that you have comfortably and satisfactorily identified yourself with. I think Guam is, I think Guam is much more accepting of that, really serious. I was at Okado High School and I was going to speak to a class, and the person that came to greet me was also the president of the student council. The person's name is Chloe, but definitely trans youth, yes. And I was so, how do I say this? I was so happy that he was free to express herself. So she comes up and she goes to me, "Girl, thank you for coming to high school." And I'm serious. And I I was not insulted in any way. I was like so excited that he could say that to me, right? And that they're open about it. So I'm walking down the school, and the kids are so happy with their school. And I said, Chloe, do you have any problems with the students here, the teachers, about you coming out and identify? Oh no, girl, they totally accept me, and the attitude. I was like just so. I felt satisfied. I really did, because as governor, and the lieutenant governor will say this, we want everybody to be happy. We want everybody to be treated fairly. We want everybody to feel that their place is a place of peace and harmony, and that they can live together and work together, and don't have these eyes of discrimination, right? And blindness. And so I was very, like I said, I left the school feeling, man, we have a good public education system, right? To be able to have Chloe feel comfortable to express herself that way. We're talking, we were comparing fingernail polish, and just, to me, that's the real life. That's Chloe's life, and very accepting in his school, in the community that she spends a lot of time with. So we need to encourage a lot of that, and we need to encourage parents that when they see something, kind of like not, you think is maybe normal in their minds, that have the inner spirit and the attitude to say, hey, whatever it is that you are going to grow up as, I accept that, and I will support that, and I will work with you in that. And because really, self-image gets very impacted from day one of birth, just in how you relate to your children, right? And so it's important, even down to that level, that our community realizes what needs to be done to all live together in a very, very harmonious environment. So, in fact, when I asked Josh to be my lieutenant governor, I said, Josh, do you have any skeletons in your closet? And he said, just that, I'm gay. I said, well, so what? That you're not in the closet, you're out, right? And so my thinking isn't because, anything that has to do with his sexual orientation. I mean, to me, that's what you are. But more so, what are your principles? What are your values? Do you believe can we work together? Do you think together we can govern this island? Do you think we can together work to provide the quality of life to our people? And certainly he said yes, and so far we've worked well together. I have only 2 more years, and I don't see anything different in these next 2 years. But just goes to prove that if top leadership supports that, I think that's the kind of role model that we are expressing to our community. That it doesn't matter what your sexual orientation, it's really the values and the principles of that individual, and what their philosophy is, and how well they can contribute to the community, and how well they can contribute to themselves, the families, and the quality of life. So again, I am very much honored to work with all of you, very much honored to be able to receive your contributions to make our lives better. And certainly Proclaiming this month is going to be a month of community awareness, and this month of voicing and advocating for fairness, equity, and peace throughout our community. So I just want to thank you for all of your organizations that are advocates of that, because it is through your organizations that we can better raise the consciousness level of our people in relation to their look and attitude to yourselves and your families. So I just want to say thank you for all that you do, and very much thankful and grateful for all that you do for our community. Thank you.
Susan Mossy, Governor. Before I introduce our Lieutenant Governor, I also wanted to recognize the presence of Mr. Matthew Tapasny, partner to our Lieutenant Governor. Please give him a applause. And now I do want to give the floor to the Honorable Joshua Tenorio, Segundo Magalohan Guam, Lieutenant Governor of Guam.
Today, everybody. Hey. You know, I want to start off today by just reading a quote from Harvey Milk. It's, I think, this quote is in many ways the impetus and the inspiration for National Coming Out Day. And I want, for me, I'd like to, on top of the message I want to give to the people of Guam, in particular, I want to talk to those of us in the community, especially those of us that are scared. They don't feel they're in a safe place, but the reason why it's so important to be yourself. So in 1978, Harvey Milk said, "Gay brothers and sisters, you must come out to your parents. I know that it is hard and will hurt them, but think about how they will hurt you in the voting booth. Come out to your relatives. Come out to your friends. If indeed they are your friends, come out to your neighbors, to your fellow workers, to the people who work where you eat and shop. Come out only to the people you know and who know you, not to anyone else, but once and for all, break down the myths, destroy the lies and distortions for your sake, for their sake." A very different time in 1978, right? And even for those of us who are older in the room, our society has evolved. And we're here to make sure it doesn't devolve, because as optimistic, and I agree with the governor, our community has grown so much. We know that there's always going to be elements out there because of fear are going to hate, and because of cowardice will sometimes take actions that are meant to hurt people. And all of us coming out and showing our family and our friends and our colleagues that, as the governor said, doesn't matter about your sexual orientation. You can do the best you can for your community. You can be a teacher, you can be a politician, you can be a doctor, you can be a dentist, you can be the postman, you can do anything you want. And to show especially parents that when they invest and follow through the love that they're supposed to provide to their kids can be everything. They can be everything. It's so important. On our island and throughout the country, throughout the world, and our island is actually best. We're one of the better places, but not too many hours out of Guam, there are very, very serious situations facing LGBT people, even in our region. People that may be facing death, they may be facing prosecution. Guam is that very special place where there is safety. And by most of us and those of us that are able to take pride in who we are and to show those examples, it makes such a good difference, especially to those kids out there, especially to parents. I was in Mauricio, I think it was maybe in March, and I was down at a campaign event, and this lady came up to me and she wanted to talk to me and she wanted to thank me. And she is a mother of a trans person that was living in Guam, moved to Las Vegas because they didn't feel that they could be themselves on the island. They didn't want to deal with some of the social pressures or the misunderstanding that can happen, especially to those of us in the trans community that in many ways have a bigger burden than the rest of us because of the outright discrimination and the outright hate that is articulated by elected leaders elsewhere in the country. Very serious, and it takes courage for all of us to stand up to that and to stand up and push back on the hate. I'm a big proponent of religious freedom, and I understand that the religions have the freedom to determine their doctrines, but they can't cross the line into the public sphere. They cannot advocate and we have to push back against efforts to discriminate against people that are living in the LGBTQI world. We have to make sure that we have policies in the legislature. I'm very happy that we have a champion in there, Senator Roy Canata, that is meant to push back on any attempts in the legislative realm to receive the progress that we've made, the progress on marriage equality. Now, as our good friend Todd Thompson knows, thank you, Todd, and to Bill for fighting the fight to have marriage equality on Guam, and then Senator Narissa Underwood for passing a local law which now protects us from any potential issue coming out of the Supreme Court that will meant to recede those kind of rights. These are very important. Senator B.J. Cruz for the workplace discrimination, anti-discrimination laws. But we still have work to do, as we know from the last few days, and some vandalism that occurred in my hometown of Sinahanya, where Mayor Hoffman had 7 pride flags taken down, right, and stolen and ripped out. Just a reminder that we always have to be vigilant. So today, as we celebrate our progress, let's remember that we still have a lot of work to do. We still have a high incidence of suicide in our community, in the LGBTQ plus community, especially in LGBTQ plus youth. We still have an issue with homelessness or houselessness. Some of it a bit more elsewhere in the country. I read a study the other day that about 1/5 of the homeless population in the state of California is LGBTQ plus. And making sure that we provide the kind of supports and figure out how to activate programming to provide safeguards for those of us that have been pushed out of our own families because of who we are. We have to remember that there still is a challenge with drug abuse. And many of our community are battling addiction. And there are many opportunities to support recovery efforts that can make sure that we shift those of us into lives of recovery. And also that there still remains barriers to healthcare. And there is an access to healthcare issue, especially for our trans brothers and sisters living everywhere, but including here living on Guam. And so today it's our opportunity to bring public education and focus on all of the values and the strengths that we in the LGBTQ plus community have on this island. We are your sons and daughters. We are your choir members and florists. We're your flight attendants. We're your doctors. We're your lawyers. We're your politicians. We are in every aspect of community. We are here to build the community in a better way. We love Guam, and everybody should love Guam, but we will not tolerate hate. We will not tolerate violence, and we will not allow any receding in the rights that we have. That is our promise together collectively. Viva Pride.
Cesar Masi, Lieutenant Governor. And now for the reading and the signing of the proclamation. Our reader today is Deputy Director for the Department of Youth Affairs, Mike Weekly. Yes, let's give a round of applause.
Proclamation number 2024-60. A proclamation of the Governor proclaiming June 2024 as LGBTQIA+ Pride Month. Whereas the uprising at the Stonewall Inn on June 28, 1969, sparked a liberation movement and a call to action that continues to inspire us to live up to our island and our nation's promise of equality, liberty, and justice for all. And whereas this is a special time to recall the adversity endured by the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, and asexual LGBTQIA community, and to rejoice in the triumphs of the trailblazing individuals who have bravely fought and continue to fight for full equality. And whereas Pride Month is both a jubilant communal celebration of visibility and a personal celebration of self-worth and dignity. And whereas the LGBTQIA community has contributed to our island's success and strengths in significant number of immeasurable ways, and we reaffirm our commitment to standing in solidarity with LGBTQIA people in their ongoing struggle against discrimination and injustice. And whereas Guam has also accomplished important markers of LGBTQIA progress, including becoming the first U.S. territory to recognize same-sex marriage after the Federal District Court of Guam ruled on June 8, 2015, that Guam laws and regulations prohibiting same-sex marriage were unconstitutional. And whereas Guam's LGBTQIA community members continue to serve in various levels of public office and throughout the Leon Guerrero Tenorio administration. Our island is particularly honored by the service of the Honorable Joshua Tenorio, the first openly gay person to serve as Lieutenant Governor, as well as several other LGBTQIA+ people in leadership positions. And whereas, for all of our progress, there are places where LGBTQIA individuals still face unacceptable acts of discrimination, lack of protection for fundamental rights and dignity in hospitals, schools, public accommodation, and other spaces that defy our island's and nation's values of inclusivity and freedom for all. And whereas the Sisters of the Moonlight consist of various and unique individuals in our LGBTQIA community, they have paved the way and have overcome many adversities to live their authentic self. Many of the sisters are legendary as they have been working and serving in our community in many different professions and come from different walks of life. From being a supermodel, interior decorators, and a hairstylist, working in the school system to being advocates for our community, these trailblazers represent and exemplify what it means to live their true selves. And whereas the House of Diosa stands as a beacon of change on the island of Guam, challenging societal stigmas surrounding transgender individuals and drag entertainers. Built on the foundation of family and love, the House remains steadfast in its mission to provide a haven for marginalized individuals, offering a safe space where they can seek solace and embark on journeys of both personal and professional development. With a commitment of fostering inclusivity and empowerment, the House of Diosa embodies resilience, advocacy, and community support, striving to reshape perceptions and create a more accepting society for all. And whereas Gala Inc. is a nonprofit community-based organization that empowers LGBTQIA+ persons, families, and allies to build a world of love, respect, and belonging through education, advocacy, and support. Since its founding, Gala has served over 10,000 youth, adults, and family through peer support groups, the Project Mangafa Peer Educator Program, the HIV/STI screening, substance abuse use prevention workshops through the Storytelling for Empowerment workshop series, youth empowerment camps, after-school programs, and LGBTQIA sensitivity trainings. And whereas Equality Guam Inc. is a nonprofit organization with the mission to foster a resilient and inclusive community for the queer population of Guam. Equality Guam is committed to weaving together a safe, supportive, and affirming environment that uplifts and celebrates the diversity of sexual orientations, gender identities, and expressions. And whereas Guam's LGBTQIA community, especially our transgender community, continues to be a target of harassment, violence, and discrimination, and yet continues to thrive through the efforts and support of our island's LGBTQIA affirming spaces, agencies, organizations, and individual allies. And whereas discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity is often compounded with discrimination on the basis of race, immigration status, religion, disability, and age, among others. And whereas during Pride Month, we recognize the LGBTQIA community's tireless work for equality, respect, and their very right to exist. We recognize the resilience and determination of the many individuals who are fighting to live freely and authentically, that they have fought battles in the courts, ranging from marriage equality to seeking equal protection under the law. In doing so, they are opening hearts and minds and laying the foundation for a more just and more equitable Guam. And whereas LGBTQIA rights are human rights, and our island reaffirms its commitment to supporting those on the front lines of the equality movement. We see you, we support you, and we are inspired by your courage to accept nothing less than full equality. And whereas discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity is often compounded with discrimination on the basis of race, immigration status, religion, disability, and age. And whereas the people of Guam are called upon to recognize the achievements of the LGBTQIA+ community, celebrate the great diversity of our people, and wave their flags of pride high.
Now therefore, I, Lourdes Leon Guerrero, Magahagan Guahan, Governor of Guam, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Organic Act of Guam as amended, do hereby proclaim June 2024 as LGBTQIA+ Pride Month, and do further affirm our island's obligation to promote the equality and uphold the dignity of all people, and dedicate ourselves to building a culture of inclusivity that protects the most vulnerable among us.
In witness whereof, I, Joshua F. Tenorio, Segundo Magetlaking Guahan, Lieutenant Governor of Guam, hereby together with the Mega Haga, cause the Great Seal of Guam to be affixed here in the capital city of Hagatna on this 5th day of June in the year of our Lord, Anno Domini 2024. Viva Guam Pride! Viva!
Thank you everyone for joining us today for the proclamation cited for June 2024 as LGBTQIA+ Pride Month. This will conclude our live stream event.